without time, right? I am the Deputy PRO of the UWI Guild Council, and I am currently the journalism representative for the Carmack student guild thing, sort of, right? I am also very passionate about media and communications, and I hope that one day I'll be able to elevate myself in the media scape. So I think this is going to be a very good session for all of us today, us as hosts and you guys as audience and listeners. So yeah.
Awesome. So while we get right into the program, I'm actually going to invite Dr. Anne-Marie Williams to do the welcome for today's event. Dr. Anne-Marie, are you here?
I am here, but I think it's Dr. Plummer who is doing the welcome.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Dr. Williams. Dr. Plummer, the stage is yours.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I want to thank you all for being here. This is a very important event. We're looking at the value of a humanities and education graduate. And within this space, we're not just looking at the value of the degree, but the value of the compendium of our graduates, right? As it relates to employers. So I want to say thank you to our panelists for being here. I want to issue a very special thanks to Miss Tashana Briscoe, to Mr. Lance Hilton, to Mr. Shaine Palmer, and Miss Brithney Clarke. I am very intrigued by your experiences as employers of our students. And I want to just learn a little bit more as our students are. So here to find out, why do you look forward to having students from our faculty? What distinguishes our graduates as opposed to others? So I'm looking forward to learning more about that. I want to also issue a special welcome to the Office of Placement and Career Development at the University of the West Indies. I want to also issue a very special welcome to our hosts, Aishiba and Gio. And I also have to issue an extra large welcome to our audience, to you, the students, who will learn quite a bit about what an employer looks for from a graduate of the Faculty of Humanities and Education. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here, and I look forward to an informative session.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Plummer. Dr. Williams, you can go ahead now.
Thank you so much for Ashiba and Gio. I want to say that the Office of Placement and Career Services is really excited to partner with the Faculty of Humanities and Education. You see, what happens is that annually we host career exposition, but due to the pandemic and other challenges, this year we felt it necessary to bring Career Expo at the different faculty levels. And so when we reached out to Humanities and Education, Dr. Plummer welcomed the idea. And so here is the birth of a new kind of partnership between Humanities and Education and Placement and Career Services. Ms. Francis has worked hard in ensuring that this event is executed well. So Ms. Francis, who represents the Office of Placement and Career Services, she actually is the person who deals with most of the career development seminars and events that we host. And so our team is really excited to have this partnership going, and we trust that as the years progress, we will continue to enjoy this kind of partnership. Our theme for Career Expo this year is, our Career Awareness Month theme really is career resilience, adaptability, and reinvention. And with that theme in mind, we're hoping that if you are unsure of how valuable you are when you graduate from the Faculty of Humanities and Education, then this afternoon we will help you to reinvent, to re-envision, and to reimagine how you can venture into the world of work and make a significant difference, not just for yourself, but also for Jamaica and the world at large. So I greet you on behalf of Placement and Career Services and ask that you participate, you enjoy the discussion. Don't be a silent partner here now, but be active in that discussion with the team. Thank you so much again for facilitating this, and we do hope that it will be of great benefit to you, our students.
Thank you so much for that, Dr. Williams. And this is a big deal, don't it?
Very big deal.
So tell everybody that's here, Gio, what this event really is about, what's the name of the event, and what we're doing here today.
Well, let me welcome you all again, guys, to the Value of a Humanities and Education Graduate. And what we're here to do is basically let you guys know what the value of your degree holds, right? So we have a bunch of people here ready to show you the worth that is in your educational program at the Faculty of Humanities and Education. And we have to thank the Office of Placement and Career Services for partnering with our faculty, right?
Right, definitely. Before we get into introducing the speakers, everybody, this is a big deal, and I want you to understand that it is a big deal. Humanities and education, big deal.
Very.
You understand me? When I think about humanities and education, especially at being at Carmack, I think about creativity. I think about somebody who you can just tell them different from everybody else because of certain characteristics that we have, don't it?
It's very easy to pinpoint when a humanities student is giving a presentation as opposed to another faculty. And it is something that we must pride ourselves on. So everybody from HUMED right now, student, administration, senior personnel alike, just send a nice little something in the chat, an emoji or something, let us know that you guys are repping for humanities.
I see somebody say Oscar level production, which is right, But we're going to jump right into the event now. We're going to introduce the speakers, people. People, I don't think you understand. We have some big people on the Zoom right now, you know. All right, fine. Not believe me? Hold on, ready. So the first speaker for this afternoon is Miss Tashana Briscoe. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Miss Briscoe. So Miss Briscoe has always had a passion for people, which influenced her decision to pursue a bachelor's degree in psychology. Tashana then decided to merge her love for people with her interest in business growth and succeeded in obtaining a master's degree in applied psychology with a specialization in organizational psychology. She is now the HR and communications director for Celebration Brands Limited, living her passion for uniting internal communications and HR to achieve optimal levels of performance and engagement. She has also served her community and country by volunteering in many ways, including as discipleship administrator for Transformed Life Church, consultant to the Ministry of Labor, and Social Security's Technology, Innovation, and Productivity team. Nothings, people. She also fundraises, coordinates, and executes an annual Christmas tree, actually, with her family. For the children in surrounding communities. She's a mom of a very brilliant young king and believes her work and service is part of her ministry through Christ Jesus. So I'm going to actually invite Miss Tashana Briscoe now to turn on her camera and to just, give a little wave and say hi to everybody that's on the Zoom call while we get into the next speaker.
Right.
Hi guys, I'm so sorry that I can't turn on the camera and wave. I had to switch to my handset, which I didn't plan for because I was supposed to be at a different location. So I'm waving. I just
okay, thank you.
We received your virtual wave. We got it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Briscoe. And now I'll introduce to you guys Mr. Lance Hylton. Now, Lance Hylton is an attorney at law and a senior partner at the Kingston-based law firm Hilton and Hilton, attorneys at law. He has been practicing law in Jamaica and other parts of the Caribbean since 1987, a long time, not enough people. He's a graduate of the University of the West Indies Law Faculty, to which he transitioned after studying in the Faculty of Arts. And if you guys don't know, HUMED, Humanities and Education, was previously called the Faculty of Arts. Now, while on the Mona campus, he was the Faculty of Arts student representative on the board of the Department of English, the president of the UM Debating Society, the faculty representative to the Council of the Guild of Undergraduates and at Mona, and the president of the Mona Law Society. His 35 years of practicing law has included being senior partner of his current law firm, partner and executive committee member of the Myers, Fletcher and Gordon, partner of a law firm and trust company in the BVI, British Virgin Island guys, and many directorships in Jamaica, including currently at the Supreme Ventures and Jamaica College. He has also been a tutor at the Mona Campus Law School for the last 13 years. Mr. Hylton knows what he's doing, guys. Mr. Hylton is therefore well placed to share his thoughts with us today on the topic, the value of a humanities and education graduate, based on his personal background as a faculty student, tutor, a father of 3 millennial or Gen Z children, and most importantly, as an employer of young graduates in his many management roles. And just a quick tidbit, guys, Mr. Hylton prefers to employ humanities students. At his law firm, he prefers humanities students.
Look here, I wonder if everybody to say, Mr. Hilton just him shake him head a while ago, you know. We love that. Mr. Hilton, you can go ahead and say hi and wave to everybody.
Yes, hi everybody. I'm thrilled to be here and happy to be a part of this occasion to share with you.
And we're glad to have you as
Great
well,
so
Mr.
far.
Hilton. Thank you.
All right, awesome. So while we continue, people, look here, I don't think they believe me.
It's a big deal.
It's a big deal. So the next person I'll be introducing is Mr. Shaine Palmer. All right, so Shaine Palmer is currently the Senior Labor Market Analyst at the Ministry of Labor and Social Security. He has 16 years of experience as a labor market analyst in the government sector and has conducted research on labor market trends, national employment report, sector studies, as well as the National Labor Market Surveys. These reports, among others, continue to provide the Jamaican government with critical information relating to the creation of employment. Now, Mr. Palmer first obtained his Bachelor of Science in Sociology and Psychology at the University of the West Indies in 2005, and thereafter acquired his Masters of Science in Sociology in 2010, also at UWI. Now, Shaine Palmer is an avid lover of sports. You're going to see why I paused right here. He's an avid lover of sports, no doubt from his involvement in extracurricular activities at his alma mater, Kingston College, as well as his community. Is Mr. Shaine Palmer here with us? Mr. Palmer.
Good afternoon. Can you all see me?
Good afternoon. Thank you for turning on the camera and waving.
I don't like that pause, you know. I don't like that pause.
All good things.
All good things, man.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Palmer. So our last person, Gia, is going to be introducing right now.
Yes, and I am so happy to be the one introducing this lovely young woman to you guys, Miss Brithney Clarke. No, Brithney is a 24-year-old media professional. Guys, let's repeat that one more time. A 24. She's not much older than some of us doing our programs right now. 24-year-old media professional at Nationwide News Network. She's an online reporter and producer and holds a Bachelor of Arts in Integrated Marketing and Communications, Aishiva's major. And she came from Carmack with us. You know, she's a part of Carmack family and she is a HUMED owl. So guys, we need for when she open up our mic and ready for wave, want to wave back, please? Thank you. Right, so she received the Prime Minister's Youth Awards for Excellence in Journalism in 2020 and has championed as a mental health advocate through outreach and personal development. She sits as the Director of Youth Engagement and Development at I Aspire, the newly appointed chairperson for the Events and Projects Projects Committee for Dress for Success Jamaica, and a assistant second vice president on the UA Alumni Association executive body. Brithney also owns the company Be Mindful Candles and More, where she specializes in handcrafted 100% soy wax scented candles using the initiative to spark awareness, one flame at a time. An IBI Youth Ambassador, she holds several pageant titles, including Miss Global Jamaica, Miss UE Mona 2017, Miss AZ Preston Hall 2016, and Miss Immaculate 2015. In 2019, she represented Jamaica in the Miss Global International pageant, where she placed as second runner-up. And last year, she placed as a top 10 finalist for Miss Jamaica World. Guys, please help me in welcoming Miss Brithney Clarke. Hi, Brittany.
All right. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. You know, Human, big up, Karma, big up everybody, you know, right, true, right? So I'm happy to be here with all of you, and I'm happy to share the panel with other esteemed humanities representatives as well. So over to you guys.
Thank you so much, Brittany. So we're going to jump right into the discussion now.
Right.
So for all the speakers who are able to turn on their camera, you can do so now as we get into the discussion. So today we're talking about the value of a humanities an education degree. And I think what's interesting, first of all, when I read the bios of the speakers today, not everybody holds a humanities and education degree here. I found that very interesting. So I wanna, let me start with Mr. Hilton. You were a part of HUMED and then you did law. Can you tell me a little bit about that journey for you? Why did you decide to do law? Was it after you did your humanities degree? Tell me a little bit more about that journey for you.
Sure. Well, back then, you know, in those days, dinosaurs roamed the earth. There wasn't that much to do. So we used to hang out under the tree in the arts faculty. And I did history, linguistics, German, curious things you may wonder. And at the time, you know, these were just things that interested us, that we thought, you know, were interesting. But the truth is, later on, I realized, and as an employer, as I look back, some of the courses that the arts faculty, the humanities faculty, as you know, call it, offered, groomed students to think. I mean, we sat and we'd read literature, we'd read history, and I think the preparation we got at that time prepared us in a way that produces the graduates that employers now look for as the kind of critical thinkers, the kind of persons who can come into their businesses and add some life and some spark and think solution oriented. I moved on to law. I did a year in arts actually, and then transferred into law at that time, and then went on to complete law. But I also always treasured the grounding I got and the friends I made in the arts faculty.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Hilton. I'll actually ask the same question to you, Mr. Palmer, as well as Miss Briscoe.
Okay, good afternoon again, everyone. All right, well, my journey to UA, we never, back then, well, I'm not that old, but you know, back in the early 2000s, we never really had access to a lot of labor market information and what careers that you could choose and so forth. So while I was in sixth form, I did sociology, history, and literature. And I was extremely good at literature. And but I didn't want to be a teacher. So I didn't know that, you know, what other careers you could venture in and so forth. I never had access to any of those information. So I enjoyed sociology as well. So I went to UE and I did sociology along with psychology. And I realized that You know, in sociology, you learn a lot in terms of research and all those things that are of interest to me, and statistics and so forth. So after doing that degree, I also pursued a master's in that area. But you know, I always enjoy being on platforms like these where I get to share with other persons what career they can venture in, because I never had that opportunity and that information. Because even when I was at UWI, I used to help my friends in over by Humanities with literature assignments because I was good at literature, but you know, I just never did it. So that's my story.
Thank you so much, Mr. Palmer. Miss Briscoe, I'd like to jump over to you. Same question. And I want the listeners to understand that we're asking the same questions to everybody right across, so you can see the difference in terms of their story, and to see how all of them reach what them reach based on them different story and just their different paths. You understand me? So Miss Briscoe, you can go ahead.
All right, actually, I'm gonna ask you to just repeat the question so I ensure that I'm answering the question. And that is, I will ask you for all questions. That's how I answer.
Sure, no problem, no problem. So we know that we're talking about the value of a humanities and education degree here, and based on your bio, we realize that you're actually in SOCI. Am I correct? The
Yes.
social sciences, right? So I mean, HR and communications director. Something look different there. So just tell me a little briefly about your journey and your experience to where you are now.
Okay. So my journey, my aim was not here, as you can see from my first degree. I was supposed to be a clinical psychologist, but fate has it that at the time when I was supposed to do my clinical practicum, I lost my grandmother, and she was very dear to me. That kind of affected the scores that I got for the two courses that I needed to do my practicum. So I ended up just continuing on some pre-electives and getting my degree, and then going into the bank and realizing that a lot of the issues that business face is because there is no clear understanding or strategy of how to integrate the people aspect of things into business. So I reached out to a lecturer while I was working at the bank because I was bored. I numbers, yeah. I'll do it now, but I'm bored being a teller and working in loans. So he introduced me to organizational psychology, and I did my master's, and I really didn't know what I was going to do. But again, faith, my first job was actually as a counselor with Hartford, a career counselor. So in becoming a career counselor, I was able to really create a niche for myself, because not only do I'm into social sciences, I also have a humanities side where I was exposed to literature in sixth form. Again, faith. I ended up in literature in sixth form. So, you know, I went into the water head first. So analyzing all of those books, and we're doing books like Beloved and all of that. So I kind of had a creative side that I had gotten from then. So HR and communications kind of give me that flexibility where I'm really about the business and I'm about revenue, but at the same time I understand how engagement and be creative and having fun and poetry and all of those things connect in the business place. So my journey is very unique. It's a very unique one that is too long for this platform, but another time I'll let you guys know. But it's been an amazing journey.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Miss Briscoe.
Thank you so much, Miss Briscoe. And I love that you actually gave us all of that background, because as someone who's worked in the corporate space before, I've had to deal with that sort of organizational strategy, right? Internal communications and all of that. And guys, your humanities degree, you might not know it yet, but things like internal communications, organizational strategy, you never know how much the things we learn in humanities is going to affect our prowess with doing these things in the corporate space. So trust me, Miss Briscoe know what she's talking about. Now,
I'm gonna
Brittany, no problem. Now, Brittany, I know you feel a little left out because you're the only humanities degree holder right now on the panel. So I got a question for you. Okay, why did you choose to do the humanities degree? You know, what is it about this undergraduate program that you felt the need to do it, you know, at HUMED?
All right, thank you for that question. Well, to be very honest with you, I'm going to give you the real honest answer. I did not know what I wanted to do finishing Immaculate. So I went to Immaculate and I was planning to take a gap year because at my alma mater, there's a trend where a lot of the ladies leave sixth form and it's either law or medicine. And I was not interested in either. No offense to our lawyer attorney here in the room, right? But I was not interested in either path because I did not see myself. For one, I don't really love school that much, to be very honest with you guys. I don't love the idea of, staying in school so long and then dedicating all these years to studying and all of that. So medicine and law were not first-hand options for me. And then going through high school, I actually changed the career path ideas several times. So at one point, I wanted to be in hospitality and tourism. Another time, I wanted to do forensics. I also loved, as Mr. Palmer said, love sociology. So I wanted to go into some sort of criminology. So over the time, I was in a period of indecisiveness for a while. How I came across the integrated marketing communications degree was a supermarket conversation with someone who went to Immaculate and was doing the program. I literally saw her and, I was like, oh, hi, how are you? And, one mind just said to ask her, what is she doing? And when I asked her, she told me about this wonderful program called Integrated Marketing Communication. And I always knew that a part of me loved, communications and media and communications. And the degree itself, just hearing the overview that she gave was enough for me to say, okay, yes, I'm not going to take that gap year. I'm going to do this program because this is the closest thing that aligned to my goals, right? So I applied very late because all of my classmates would have applied from December. We know UA has a time frame where it is that you need to get your degree, your applications in order to be considered. And I took a leap of faith. I applied in May when everything done and people don't register and whatever. And I was very happy to see that 1 week before orientation in August of that year, I was admitted into the program Integrated Marketing Communications. Now coming in, I came in with a very open mind because as I said, I'm still very confused. Fresh out of high school, I have no idea what I'm doing here. Didn't want to be here in the first place. Decided that I'm going to take the leap because I do believe education is the key to success, right? We hear it all the time. And with just having the degree, and I know we're going to get into this a little later, but just having the degree itself, honestly, it doesn't really matter what per se, because what you have in theory, there's going to be twofold when you put it into, when you execute the practical. You're going to learn so much on the job, on spot that, the degree is really just the access to get into the workspace. So, I did it. I loved it. Loved the PR, loved the advertising, loved the little journalism components that we were introduced to. And then I was like, yes, this is my field. I was doing very well, did very well. Graduated second class honors, missed it by 0.1, but I'm not holding any grudges. But, it was just, I had a wonderful time going through the faculty. And, I know the question may come up a little later as well, but, I did not just I was not just a student of academics. I was not just a student of integrated marketing communications. I did other courses, electives elsewhere that helped to build and form, the person I am today, and I know they will become helpful in the future.
Thank you so much for that, Brittany. It's very interesting because I can relate a lot to you. I actually applied for law, people. I was supposed to be over the faculty of law, and I had a conversation with somebody who is doing IMC as well, and him talk nice things about it. I'm say, hey man, this is where I should be. So I definitely understand you there, Brittany. Mr. Hilton, I want to jump over to you, ask you a very important question. Now, I know that you're a lawyer, big lawyer, and I know that you like or you prefer to hire H&E, that's Humanities and Education graduates. But what is the importance of a humanities and education degree, especially in your field of work, being a lawyer?
That's a very good question, and it's interesting because I think when you're actually there, you may not realize how you're being prepared for the future. And so I think seminars like this and career days, again, which we never had access to that back in the day, are important. You find that in the workplace, in many areas, in the professions, you have specific uh, areas that you are trained in while you are in university or college that can assist you when you go to work. But by and large, for most places, including law firms and accounting firms, you learn on the job. As Brithney said, the degree is really just a path to get you to the job, but it can also make you better prepared. So what the employer is really looking for is for a graduate who is trainable, smart enough to be trained, shows the willingness to be trained, shows the aptitude, shows the interest and desire to be trained, as displays the humility and the good attitude that they will likely fit in and fit in amongst the other workers in the workplace. A workplace is so much more than simply a place where you execute. I think a lot of times when we're in school or even when we're preparing, we believe I will learn this skill and then I'll go to a job and I'll execute that skill. I'll put that skill into practice. It really doesn't work like that. For the majority of the work environment places, if you think of, the Grace Kennedys, insurance companies, even in law firms, the bulk of the actions, the activities, the tasks to be executed are things you're trained in when you're there. So the employer is looking for persons who look like they're gonna fit in, look like they have, the vibe I get from a lot of you here is something that I would be impressed by in an interview. The culture of the workplace is so important. The ability to get along with people, the ability to think outside of the box, all of these things. And I know you're managing the time. I won't speak for too long at a time. But I found that the art students, certainly when I was there and based on my experience, it's continued, kind of thinks and relates and executes a little differently from, say, let's say the science students. And so that's where I usually look. They just seem more engaged, more adaptable, more willing to learn, and also have better organizational skills. I know it's not that other places don't have it, but certainly that's been my experience. And so that's why we tend to look for fresh raw material, whether in the law firm or in other areas that look at the kind of fertile field that you can plant and it will grow seems to be somewhere that the humanities field prepares you for. And so I think it's a good job is being done there. There are other areas, and I think engagement like this with employers can even help to guide both the students and the faculty how to even mold better for the workplace.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Hilton.
Trust us.
I don't think I've ever had a conversation with a lawyer, asked that question and I've gotten that response.
Right. It's always very law.
Law.
And it's very interesting as well because something that you said, I'm pretty sure the other panelists will have a very similar response, and the adaptability of the humanity and education students is what people look for. My current employer said it to me that you don't just come into a space like this. You don't get a degree in advertising operations. You have to have the curiosity, the skill, and the adaptability to be placed in this sector, right?
Definitely. And it's very important that Mr. Hilton said something important, which is gonna give me the opportunity to segue into my next question from Miss Briscoe. Now, Mr. Hilton had said that he realizes that when you think about humanities and education students, you see somebody who is, they're more willing to learn, they have organizational skills and so on. And so, Miss Briscoe, what I want to ask you is, what are the characteristics of the perfect humanities and education graduate who is applying, for example, to work in your company? So that's for you, Miss Briscoe.
All right, thank you for that question. So I'm going to answer it a little bit different because from my experience in recruitment, and I've been a headhunter for a lot of different sectors, from tourism, hospitality, telecom, a lot of stuff. And what I've noticed is that there's no there's no, how do I put it now? There's no formal training that can create the perfect candidate. I know it's so, yeah, soci, humanities, there is no perfect or medical man. So the other day when I was with a digital marketing company, we actually hired a doctor to be UI, yeah, UI, UX engineer. And one of the things that I've learned, and even if you want to know what the skills, there's no ideal characteristics, there are ideal skills and tendencies. And I use a lot of the World Economic Forum jobs report, and you see those things. No, I'm heavily digital despite being psychology. And one of the things that we found is that with a lot of the algorithms and all of the digital stuff that are in the world right now, the perfect candidate for any job would be somebody who is in tune and who have increased their ability to be human. And what does that mean? It means the ability to use higher order thinking, to be critical, to do creative problem solving, the ability to be emotionally intelligent. So those are the things that we look for because, to be honest, any degree that you come with, chances are there's an algorithm for that. And I know I'm trying not to be too harsh, but there's always going to be a machine or a program or something that can do it. The difference between us and machines is the ability to problem solve while thinking about the effect that it's going to have on a human being. It's about understanding what is right and how to do the right thing. And that's why I love millennials. I'll always tend to hire millennials. I have nothing against baby boomers, love them as well, but I like to put them together because the steadiness that come with a baby boomer and then the millennials' creative problem solving and passion for the world is what you're looking for now. So business want to know that I can create a product and I'm not going to get a big lawsuit because I destroyed the environment or because I'm not being kind to the person who lives on the street that I'm going to construct the business. So those are the qualities that I look for because everything else you can train for. Or if I can't train, I can find an app or a program that can do it and you can guide the program. so it's really about getting in touch with who you are as a person and understanding self-leadership, understanding how do you manage yourself. I know it's hard for Jamaicans because we're post-colonial and we're coming out of a lot of organizations that have the plantation style stratification, where certain people are at this level and that. What we're going into now is a high level freedom work climate, and high levels of freedom requires high level of responsibility. So the students who understand that I need to wake up and get to work at 7:30, without my mother having to say, get up and go, or without my boss saying, if you don't get to work early, I'm going to suspend you or I'm going to do that. The world that we're going, the future of work is about being a self-leader, managing yourself, understanding. I always tell my son, remember your body have mass and volume. So when you're moving through the world, understand where you're placing your body and who you're going to hit or what is going to happen. And those are the candidates that I look for. A candidate that understand that I'm coming to work early, not because you tell me to, or because if I don't come, I'm going to be punished, but I'm coming to work early because the customer needs the goods by 4. Finance need my product by 10 in order to be able to give commercial what they need by 5. So it's understanding the ecosystem of a business space and how your contribution affects the customer and the bottom line of the business. So I'll take any candidate that understand themselves, understand where they want to go, and then I will do the rest. We can bring you up to speed in what.
Hey, Miss Briscoe, you talk, you know.
Mhm.
You talk. You talk. And guess what? When I came into the room, actually, the Zoom room, she said something about critical thinking. They need to have critical thinking. And I just want to big up my crit teacher who I see on the Zoom right now because hello, Miss.
Hi, Professor Jones.
Hi, Miss Jones. Look here. Crit people. So I see a lot of people them on the Zoom who don't like crits. Wanna hear what Miss Briscoe just said? All right. But they have to say nothing else. We're jumping right into the. You want to say something?
Yes, I did actually. Miss Briscoe, I love that you brought up that I'd love to speak to you more about that hybridized workforce that you were talking about, the baby boomers and the millennials, and even probably some Gen Zs when it's time for them to come into the working world. Because it's really interesting to see how you can put all of that together and create a workforce that is effective and efficient. And so I want to ask Mr. Palmer, a very similar question. What are the characteristics, Mr. Palmer, that you look for, or rather, tell us the trends that you look, what do trends look like in the labor market for humanities and education careers?
All right. So as Ms. Briscoe and Mr. Hilton mentioned earlier, they would have highlighted some of the skills that employers are looking for. So I share similar sentiments based on what I see happening in the labor market. So while the technical skills are very important, but the transferable skills are what employers are looking for. So those skills like social media literacy, critical thinking that was mentioned, presentation skills, tech savviness, leadership, analytical, report writing. These are some of the main skills that employers are looking for. We notice that it's happening in the labor market, as well as foreign language, which I know is done over by Humanities as well. So the ability to speak Spanish, Mandarin, those are some of the skills that we notice that are needed in the labor market. So for example, if someone is seeking a job in the tourism sector, we have realized now that the tourism sector is demanding persons who have a second language, preferably Spanish. So you have to come in the labor market with something that sets you apart from the other candidates. So if somebody is coming with a similar degree that you have, but then you have foreign language on yours, you have that will give you a distinct advantage over the other person. And also, what we have noticed that is happening in the labor market as well is based on research, and we do what is known as hot occupation analysis. And we notice that there are a lot of jobs in the labor market that would be in line with persons in the humanities field. So we have noticed that there's a demand for managers in various areas such as public relations, research, social media, corporate affairs. There's also need for consultants in areas of communication, event management, and so forth. And we all know that the teaching area is an area that is constantly in need of persons. As you know, unfortunately, the labor market doesn't pay teachers as well, and because a lot of teachers are disgruntled, so they migrate. So there's always that turnover in that area, but the demand is there for teachers in various areas such as Spanish, special education, theater arts, and so forth. And we noticed that there are other jobs in demand, such as content writer, digital marketer, graphic designer, and so forth. And in a study that was done, a skills demand survey by the Hard Trust NTA, certain positions were deemed hard to fill, and these included like content creator, bilingual agents, and these were needed in like the IT sector. There was a need for multilingual front desk agent, and this was needed in the tourism sector. And there's a need for tour guides, persons who speak French and Spanish. But these are some of the things that we see happening in the labor market. And I think that the humanities degree, persons from humanities, they are poised for the labor market and where things are going.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Palmer. Hey, Mr. Palmer talking now.
Talk.
Everybody's just talking today, and I love it. I love it. I love it. People, I wanna just reiterate how important this event is. You're not just gonna go anywhere and get this information from people who are right there in the profession, in the career space right now. So this is a big deal. Brittany, I want to jump over to you. Now, I've heard all the speakers so far, talking about importance of humanities and education degree, and the market trends and so on from Mr. Palmer. But Brittany, what I want to know from you is you just leave university one day you just leave university. So I want to know from you, how has that transition been for you as this young person leaving university and just jumping right into the work world right now? How was that for you, and what was the journey like?
Right. So jumping in, I actually started working with Nationwide in April of 2019. I got my degree in July. So I was still in school, I'm transitioning between work and school. Honestly, because of all the things I did while at university, I think the transition helped me just because of how involved I was and how everything that I did contributed to making me the ideal candidate for the world of work. So, I participated in the placement and career services mock interview session that they had that January. I did not just stick to media related stuff. I applied to marketing. I applied to like anything that was available for me to be a part of. I took the opportunity. One second.
And remember, everybody, Brittany works at Nationwide News Network, so
Yes.
anything can pop up at any
At any
moment.
point
Yes,
in
so
time.
sorry about that, guys.
Go
I'm
ahead,
still in
Brittany.
office, so as soon as I comment, I'm gonna step off for like a minute and come right back. But yes, so all the things that I did while I was here just helped me. So right now, I'm actually, as I mentioned, I did integrated marketing communications, right? But I am actually working in a media house that journalism is the focus. Now, what I really applied to do was be their online reporter slash producer, meaning that I'd assist with posting, I'd assist with building their social media platforms. But then while I was here, I said, okay, I need to learn a little of everything so that I can be able to do a little of everything. So I was able to write stories. So now I do the entertainment news. I report on air 12:30 every day to talk about what's trending on social media. So I'm still doing the social media aspect, still posting online. So I learn a little bit about web development, website design. I've done production. So I produce. I just finished a stint as producer for a radio program that happens every Tuesday night. I also produce I produce content for the online platforms as well via YouTube. Guys, I just do a bag of things, and all of this was really as a result of the experience that I garnered. While at Carmack, I did 3 internships. I don't know why I'm Mr. Extra, but I did 3 internships. I did something where I produced podcasts. I did an internship with public relations. 1 minute, and I did. Oh, on the line. Okay, guys, give me 1 second, please. I'll be right back.
No problem. All right, guys, you have to see, Brittany is taking the little time to come here and be with us today, and she's still at work, so we understand that. But we're
Right.
jumping right along,
Yeah.
as she comes back in a few. Mr. Hilton, I want to ask you a question, and I think I want everybody to answer this. So keep the responses as short as possible so that we can just maximize on the answers that we get. What, in your opinion, Mr. Hilton, what do you think students need to start doing from now? So we have like first, second year students, and we have a few third year students on the call now. What do they need to start doing now to ensure that they're graduating not only with a piece of paper, but with the knowledge and even experience to go out into the working world?
Excellent question. So right now you should start to build your mind and your resume for the job. You want to be able to do the job, but you also want to be able to secure the job. By building your resume, sorry, I mean, envision from these seminars what employers are looking for, and don't be afraid to go out and do it and put it on. You need to distinguish yourself from the other 200 applications I will get, and Ms. Briscoe and Ms. Palmer will get on their desk. So since we're looking for a well-rounded person, a critical thinker, you know what we're going to ask you in the interview? We're going to ask you, tell me of a situation where you were where so-and-so happened. Go out, make it happen, and plan what you're going to tell me. Go out, participate in different things. Great if you do well, so that goes without saying. Demonstrate that you're going to be on time, because when Tashana calls somebody and say, was Ricardo, Crystal, did they come to class on time? Make sure the answer is yes. Be involved in different committees. When we look and we see, yeah, you're on the debating committee, you're on this or on that, that tells me you're more well-rounded, you're more sociable, you can get along with people. Be involved in different situations, different committees, different projects that can get you in a position where you have a wider experience. Look for courses that will in fact challenge you, expand your vocabulary, expand your experiences and your opportunities to be in a position where you can think. And when you come to the interview, be prepared. Show that you're interested. If you know I'm looking for someone who is a critical thinker, thinks end to end, is solution oriented, come and tell me that and demonstrate why. And if I don't ask you, make sure you tell me. Do what I'm doing now. I have certain things I want to impart. So regardless of what you ask, I'm going to tell you. So come prepared, be prepared, study the subject matter of the persons you're going to speak to. Practice thinking triangularly. What do I mean by that? Don't walk up to a problem and stop and think your job is done by saying, oh, I walked and there was a problem. Well, how are you going to get around that? You don't have to stop when you reach the wall. Walk around it, dig under it, go over it. Address your life the way that you want to demonstrate to your employer when you get the job that you can. And this is a real and actually a serious thing. So many people see the end of what they're required to do as well. I did what was reasonable and I meet a problem and I stop. No, you're going to meet a lot of challenging situations. Recognize and demonstrate in what you're doing now and when you come to the interview and in your job that you realize that the destination is not that, oh, I just did what was reasonable or what I was asked and Tom didn't do his part or so on. Well, what did you do to make sure the team won? So you can start preparing yourself right now. You can go out there, you can get the tools that you need that are available in the faculty, become involved, volunteer. Don't wait to be asked, put up your hand, write that paper. Build that resume from now. And don't worry about, well, that's not my passion or I don't like that. You're not yet at the point where you know all of what might be your passion. So wherever you are, be deliberate and intentional and present and demonstrate that when you go to the interview. Then you get in the door and they demonstrate in the job.
Thank you so much for that, Mr. Hilton. Brittany, before you go, I want to ask Ms. Briscoe a question before she leaves, because she'll have to leave now. But Ms. Briscoe, before you go, one very big question. I know you're gonna talk, what has been the most challenging thing for you when you're hiring people, especially young people, right now?
Yes. So the most challenging thing for me, which I don't think it is any fault of the talent, I think it is the fault of the market because our market is behind world right now, behind what's happening in the world. So one of the most challenging thing is to find a mutually beneficial relationship for the talent and the company. Millennials and most persons after the pandemic, they understand the value of life and they want to spend time with their family. They want enough vacation. They want to be paid enough so that money is not an issue. And they can decide to get married and have children, or they can go on vacation and not worry, or they can stop working at 5 p.m. and don't feel like they are the villain of the office because they actually stop working on time. So that has been the challenge because what we have now is that we have a talent, the buyer's market now, meaning the talent are looking for a home. It's not first time when you have a lot of people and the companies like you need them. No, it is the companies needing the talent. So I think one of the most difficult things for me is being of the same mind. I'm kind of like between millennials and baby boomers, so I do have the same thing as millennials, but I do understand the steadiness of baby boomers. So it's really kind of connecting um that mutually creating unity and getting candidates to understand that we're not there yet, but if you join us, we can get there. So bridging that gap with talent, that has been one of the most difficult things in hiring or competing with international companies that are paying you more to work remote. So yeah, so those are the challenges that we have as recruiters, right?
And one of the last things before you jump off, I want to know from you what advice you have to give for the students that are on here now, reading for their degrees, ready to go into the work world. Any kind of advice you have to give, you can give before you leave.
Okay, so my advice to students is look what's happening in the world. Visit the World Economic Forum, join LinkedIn, look at what's changing and try to be a solution. Look at the problems that exist now and the problems that will exist 2 years from now, and ensure whatever you're learning for, whatever you're training in, is to solve that gap. I gave an advice to a student the other day and he almost fell off his chair because I told him, just finish the degree. Don't worry too much about what type of, just do a degree. You're only doing a degree so that when your resume go in a sorting system and it says must have a minimum of a first degree, you get over that road. Everything else, you're possibly going to learn it outside of the classroom. Getting involved in all activities, volunteering at church, volunteering with different movements, build those skills, build real solutions. Look at the problems that we have. The 4-day work week is coming. It's not in Jamaica yet, but there will come a point where everybody's going to work for 4 days. So create a mindset where you can adapt to change easily. The pandemic that happened the other day, a lot of people had a lot of challenges adapting. Build a mind that if tomorrow I wake up and the world is different, I can be different too. And I can survive in a different way. And I think that is what you need to do.
Thank you so much for that, Miss Briscoe. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Miss Tashana Briscoe, HR and Communications Director at Celebration Brands Limited. She'll have to leave us for the rest of the event, but guess what? That was she talk. That's all we have to say. She talk, yes. And I really did get a lot of information from you. So we really, really, really do appreciate you coming and sharing with us this evening or this afternoon. Thank you so much.
Thanks again, Miss Briscoe.
All right, so we're moving along because yes. Brittany is back.
Yes.
And Brittany, I know you were answering the question that we had asked, but we're gonna jump. We're kind of going to see if we can
gears and
gears.
Yeah. So
I said it things, Brittany, because you did say enough, but guess enough is thing. To know from you what kind of extra activity did you participate in while you were at UE, and did these activities help you at all nationwide at any you did out UE?
Okay, yes, I did a lot. I did a whole heap. But enough is a term that we love to use because we have enough ambition, enough opportunities, enough excellence. So when it came to the first year at UA, I did the pageants. I did Miss AZ Preston Hall. I participated. I played football. I continued my football practice because I've been doing football since high school. So I did football right throughout up to final year. I was the Carmack representative for first year. I did, hold on there, I was also on the committee, the planning committee for hall events. So I was the EAC in second year and then went on to be deputy hall chair in third year. So leadership, physical activity, actually participated in all the sports, but I was the standard goalkeeper for the team for the AZ Preston Hall and the UE team right up to final year. So yeah, I did sporting activities as well, leadership activities, and I did a lot of planning. So as it relates to academic extracurricular, I did an elective in the cultural department, entertainment and cultural enterprise management. So that allowed me to, get a little certification for event planning because we planned our activity, culture, roots, rock, reggae. It was a concert. We raised over $100,000 to donate to our charity, the Maya Chung Autism and Disabilities Foundation. I also participated in the planning of our masquerade. That's our AZ Preston Hall event. While at Carmack, I was a part of the World TV Day book launch planning. I was the head of logistics for that. I was also the head of logistics and sponsorship for the Agri Brown Distinguished Lecture. And yes, I did a lot of things. I tried to ensure that I got as much experience as possible in the different areas. As I said, I also did 3 internships. So I learned a little of PR and marketing. I did a little of production in terms of audio production and all kinds of something. And then I don't remember what the third one was. I did a third internship. I will tell you what that was when I remember it. But yeah, I tried to get as much in producing culture, right? Thank you so much, Nicole. Yes, I could not remember the name of the course. So producing culture, that allowed me to plan an event and execute the event. And we started from $0, raised $100,000. We got so many sponsors on board. Entertainers came on board and dedicated their time. We had Sizzler and a number of other artists who all, offer their services on behalf of us to raise the funds and do this project. So event planning, I can plan events, I can edit the audio. So when I came to Nationwide, I was able to just jump on and edit any audio that I needed to put into my production. I was able to deal with people because, when you're the queen, the pageant queen at AZ Preston Hall, Miss Yui Mona, you are the PR, right? So you're the representative for the hall or the representative for the Guild of Students or the University of the West Indies to an extent. So I was able to work on my public speaking skills, my people skills. I was able, I just did so much, guys. And I want to encourage everybody to not just be a student of the books, but be a student of the universe. Just participate in everything that you can to get as much experience as you can, because even the informal things, the clubs that you sign up for, the societies that you sign up for, you learn so much. You learn about the leadership, you learn how to work in a team. I know some people hate group work, but trust me, when you come to the world of work, there are projects that you will have to work on in teams and with other people to ensure that the objectives of the company are met. So please don't shy away from anything. You don't have to do 100 things like me. That's just how I function. I like being involved and I like learning a lot, a little of everything. But know what you can manage. You can literally be a part of one club and move up the ranks, join their leadership positions, participate in any events that they may have. For example, I know debate society is an excellent group to be a part of. You do that, you participate in their mooting competitions for persons who are in law school. I know they have that as well. Work on your public speaking skills, host couple events. I did hosting on campus as well. So a bag of things, guys. As much as you can, try to get experience in as many areas as possible to help contribute to your overall, just the best version of you for the world of work. So yes.
Thank you so much for that, Brittany.
It's really, it's thanks a lot, Brittany, because it's really, it's very pointed to note that not just because we're doing a paper degree, we're not just reading for the degree. And you said something that really resonated with me just a while ago. You're not a student in the book, you're not a student in the book alone. Right? And I almost finished your sentence for you when you were talking, and I said a student of life. Right? It's something that in literature they keep driving it to us over and over and over again. You're not a student of literature, you're a student of life. So thank you so much. And Mr. Palmer, please don't think that we've forgotten about you, because we have a question right now for you, and I think you'll be very well positioned to answer it. Are you here with us, Mr. Palmer?
Yeah, man, I'm here.
All right, coolio. So we were speaking previously about the traits and characteristics that you have recognized that humanities students have, that they're adaptable and that they're willing to work. And a lot of you guys said the same things about humanities students. So I want to know, how important is it for students to know and understand the importance of non-traditional jobs they can get with that degree that they have, the humanities degree?
It's very important for students to know about the non-traditional jobs. And I think what has happened over the years is that a lot of employers don't really understand the value of a humanities degree. Oftentimes you look at jobs that are posted and so forth, and you will see certain requirements, and they are not humanities related. But employers, so it's really speaking to the fact that employers don't really understand the value of a humanities degree, and perhaps limit persons within a certain scope or a certain area, So there needs to be greater dialogue between employers and the ministry and education and training institutions, so that there can be a better understanding of some of the skill sets that come from the faculty of humanities. So as for the students now, they also need to, it's a matter of how they market themselves. So for example, someone who has like a teaching degree, right? But you don't necessarily want to be a teacher. But what are some of the things that you learn from it being a teacher or getting a teacher education degree? You have learned time management skills, problem-solving skills, communication skills, management skills, lateral thinking, to be able to think outside the box, resilience, and you will be able to work effectively as part of a team. So, you put those things on your resume, and, you be able to position yourself for other jobs. So you can get to position yourself for jobs as a career advisor. You can get a job as like a consultant, like an educational consultant and so forth. Textbook author, for example, or you can do freelance writing and blogging, given that how the labor market is today, where it's a technology-driven labor market. So, you can use your skill set to position yourself to other things within the labor market. So it's a matter of students being more aware of what is happening in the labor market to better able to learn of what are the non-traditional jobs that exist out there. And at the ministry, we conduct numerous studies that help persons to be more aware of what are the skills and what are the occupations that are in demand. So for example, also a degree in history. A lot of persons probably think that they need to be a teacher, but you can work in the media, you can go into editing, you can go into reporting, you can go into publishing, you can go into politics, you can be a campaign manager, you can do public policy, you can do research. So persons need to be more aware of the non-traditional skill set and don't just limit themselves, because the Faculty of Humanity actually teaches you to think outside the box. Thank you.
Boy, everybody just a talk. Everybody is talking. And look here. I don't know. This is just amazing, guys. I'm sorry. I don't even know what to say. But guess what? We're going to actually open the floor now for you to ask questions. Students.
Audience.
Students.
Listeners.
Everybody.
Guys.
This is your chance to ask the question.
Yes.
You can't have such an amazing panel and don't ask questions.
Remember, we have Brithney Clarke, media practitioner, Mr. Lance Hilton, attorney. We have Mr. Shaine Palmer, an analyst in the labor market. Guys, come on.
All right, so Mr. Joel Brown, raise him and Joel. Open your mic.
The floor is yours.
Ask your question.
Okay, well, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I was formerly a musician, and I decided because I was still young with my skills, I decided to come into librarianship. But I'm asking you if it is possible for me to still be a musician, or is it bad to have that on my resume? And could I still get my dream of being a musician while being in humanities as a librarian? Because I still love the music, and I still desire to make some connections in that. And I'm also interested in sports, but just want to hear you guys' stance on things like that, if I can still have these two things running side by side, because I can't get rid of one. I don't want to say, well, drop the music and then go full time, but because music is nice and it gives me a lot of joy. So I've always had a little struggle in fusing the two together. And I remember one time, and I will finish up by saying that one time when I was doing an interview, it was frowned upon, so I just want to hear you guys' views on that. If I can still be a musician and play out as well as function in the world of work.
All right. I guess anyone can answer the question. Brittany, you can go ahead.
In because as you asked the question about firstly, if it will be looked down upon, no. Secondly, if it's possible to do both, definitely possible to do both. And I'll actually firstly commend you for taking the transition to do higher education, get your degree, and I believe that will actually add to your portfolio as a musician, right? You're doing a very good field, library studies. It's kind of one of those underrated fields. But library studies, of course, it will assist you, because if you want to even go into, say you want to be a musician on the side, but say you want to go into what is it, JCAP, where they, work on the documentation and copyright management, and, you deal with that kind of thing. Trust me, you will have the tools to work on that, to preserve, the catalog, the document. So you learn a lot of organizational skills that will not only be beneficial to the company that you may work with, but beneficial to you as an entertainer when you come to document all the things that you want to do, document your music, working with different people. Very, very good, right? So doing library studies is not a problem. Improving yourself, never a problem. So don't ever believe that when you're working to improve yourself, it will ever be a problem. But music, why I would say no, it's not, it won't be looked down upon, is because you can actually now use the electives, because we get electives, find some electives that will help to nice up that library studies degree. So do an entrepreneurship course, because you are going to be your own manager until you get a manager. Go into the culture department of humanities and do probably ESEM, Entertainment and Cultural Enterprise Management. Do one of those culture courses. I think there's one, I did Bob Marley and his music because I wanted to learn a little more about, Bob Marley and his music. You can do, there's so much. There is a person now, Aaron, he is the owner of Kaboom Nation, right? So he's not a musician himself, but through his degree, his programming studies, he was able to learn how to manage those entertainers. So he even went into, production and a bunch of other things by working with them and learning from the space. So trust me, Pierre, there are many advantages to you as an entertainer yourself. I mean, even when you get back on campus, you can start to work with the guild and put on little events, right? And then you get your bus as an entertainer, you still do your degree, probably make a little change on the side as well. And you build your brand as a musician while still developing yourself as an entertainer. So don't give up on your dream to do music. We need more young musicians to deliver conscious content, but at the same time, work on yourself, build that library studies degree, and be strategic in how you choose your electives. So help make sure that your electives complement both the dreams of doing library studies and being a musician. So that's just my 2 cents.
Thank you very much. Yeah,
yes,
man. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes,
Thank
I'm
you
looking
for
out
that
for that name.
question, Joel.
I'm looking out for Joel Brown in the music
Hey.
industry. Yeah.
Well, look at it,
Right there.
Joel, if we don't hear the name, in how much years we are giving him?
We're not giving it, we'll give 6 months.
We're coming for you.
Yeah, man.
Is there anybody else who wanted to answer that question before we move on?
Let me see if I can comment on what Joel said, just if I fully understand it. One of the things he said was, would an employer look down on the fact that I love music? I was thinking in that moment that what he was saying is, if I'm applying for a job that's not a music job, but I tell them that I'm interested in this and I do that. So I would say this: no, an employer would not look down on the fact that that's a part of your life. In fact, that enhances you. That is saying to the employer, hey, I can have this person in my organization, and that's something that will help with the morale, the vibes, and so on, because that's an important thing. Workplaces need that person that adds that spark. And I can tell you, sometimes some persons keep them job just because they have that personality. Because work hard. Work is hard. Sometimes we forget this, and we brand a place as we want to leave because we go there and it's not the fun and games, because we graduate and now we land and everything gonna be great, and you realize, but this thing harder than school. So sometimes someone who brings that in extra dimension is welcome, but you need to be sure, what am I applying for at this place? Because sometimes you may not be able to make the money you want off your passion right away. You may have to build it on the side, do it on the side until you can go into it on your own. So maybe you're going to work in an insurance company or a bank or a manufacturing in a particular area. And as we said earlier, we have to get away from the labels that you study X, so you're going to do X, right? You want to be able to, as Brithney said, show you have a wide range on your resume and what you're prepared. So you don't want to just limit yourself to library studies because the employer sees that alone. You want to show a wide, so you have options, of course, unless of course, directly I'm going to go into that music or that library, but you want to earn a money first as well. So you want to show the employee and employer, and your resume must be geared towards what you want to convince that employer that I can do the job you want. I'm also this person. I also have these other dimensions. I'm also organized. I'm also have a passion for music. So I would say it won't be frowned upon if you're applying for something and your resume and your interview speaks to that, and you speak confidently towards that. And this other area is not what you're highlighting, which doesn't fit with what the job is about.
Thank you for that, Mr. Hilton. Sabrina, I see your hand is up. You can go ahead and ask a question.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. So I heard Ms. Clarke make mention earlier of completing a number of internships while she was at Carmack. I wanted to know if there are any internship programs she recommends or any organizations in specific for our IMC internship.
All right. So, okay, let me just clarify why I did so many internships firstly. Because I did 3 because each of them didn't make up the amount of hours I needed to complete. So that's really why. And rather than renewing with the same company, I decided to continue with 2 other companies to get more experience. So just to clarify, I didn't do 3 because I'm just enough, but I needed to meet the requirements, yes? So as it relates to IMC internships now, we know what IMC is made of. It has a little bit of journalism, but there's the public relations, there's the advertising, and then there is the social marketing aspect. Now, what you can do, I did the special, so I did all 3 areas, and that just because I felt it made me a little more flexible, and more rounded. But what you can do is if you plan to specialize in a single area or 2 areas, identify agencies or workplaces that focus on that. So, for example, for the PR component, you can look at agencies like Market Me, you can look at Ideate That, there's so many. So I think I probably can share a list afterwards of some places that I know off the bat. But just look for entities. Instagram, guys, Instagram have everything, Twitter, you can just send out a message. Hey, anybody doing IMC internships, any recommendations? And just try to place yourself in a position where you get the experience you need for the line of work that you want to be in. So it doesn't make any sense you're not doing advertising and then you decide that you want to do an advertising internship, because I wouldn't say it's a waste, but you want to be practical when you do these things, because at the end of the day, the internship is just to help give you first-hand experience in the line of work that you want to do. So I can share a list later down. I'll probably send it through Placement and Careers. I know they have some opportunities as well, but any agency that is within the field, whether media house or otherwise, you can apply there. Apply openly. I wouldn't say if they're not openly asking for interns, that doesn't mean you should not apply. Just apply, because you never know, you may get through.
Very true.
Thank you so much for that, Brithney. Chelsea, I see that your hand is up. You can go ahead and ask your question.
Thank you, and good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so for me, I would just like to continue on the topic of non-traditional jobs, because I think it's so important that we are aware of these jobs that are available for us to then consider and then seek those corresponding opportunities, especially here in Jamaica. For example, if I have an interest in publishing or content writing, I think, or I believe right now, what I can see, there are not many spaces or opportunities that are available. Given this, can you list a few of these non-traditional or niche jobs in the workspace? That is, whether it is in Jamaica or overseas, that would be suitable for a humanities and education graduate?
Ishiba and Joy, I want to ask just your question, because it touches on something that I wanted to comment on. How do you know these opportunities are not available? You see, I think we have to be careful about limiting ourselves to the labels, and we think, remember, we have to help and educate the employer. The employer may not know where to look for you. So you have to decide, I am going to go and present myself. I am there may be a talent you have that an employer could benefit from, and he doesn't know. Write and apply to all the places. Sit down, take your list, make your list, send it. So many people say, no, go on for a boy, me look, and you say, okay, where have you applied to today? nowhere. I look at it and say anything, but you literally can sit down. You can have multiple versions of your resume and you just send it out to everywhere. You know, it's like marketing. It is marketing. You're marketing yourself. Marketing works not because I see that ad and wow, I didn't know I needed to go and buy that and I buy it. It's in my head, and when the opportunity arises, bam, here is that's the product, that's the person. So you need to look at all the companies. You need to send out your resumes to them, plan it, execute it, as I said before, build it. Don't wait. Sometimes people wait too long to apply and they wait till, you start applying early. And don't be afraid to reapply. Don't be afraid to follow up if you didn't hear back and send in another one. We recently realized that there's some persons who were employed that they had applied 2-3 years before and they just applied again. Because when that opportunity arises, if your resume is near to hand, fresh in the mind, the employer goes in his email and look, who was applied recently? Bam, you're there. You get the interview. And since you have time on your hands at that time in your life, there's no applying and getting a job is what's important for you. And the so-called non-traditional areas are vastly more than the so-called specific professional. Because as I say, most of the jobs you're going to be trained to do on the job. They don't have a special name like accountant or lawyer or so on. It's going to be something specific to that particular area. You're going to go, you're going to learn it, and you're going to work, and you may love it. And the faculties of humanities is preparing you for it right now, and you can help to prepare yourself and prepare your resume for it.
That is so true, Mr. Hilton. I hope that answered your question, Chelsea. And I want to share a little thing with you, Chelsea, as well, because it goes into what Mr. Hilton was speaking about. So I have a coworker who, she's also an ad operations executive. And just a little like lesson for you guys, advertising operations executives, what we do is we set ads for our clients and we monitor them and report on them, right? So what happens at my company is that we get projects to do. And my coworker did a project for a Loop campaign, and it became an Instagram live called In the Loop. And eventually, In the Loop caught enough traction to become a feature in and of itself on different channels and platforms. It's a show now. And it was just a little project. That was a non-traditional thing in the advertising operations space. And it became something that was staple for my coworker. And now her job title is compound. She's not just an ad operations executive. She's also the writer, producer, director for In the Loop. So the opportunities are there, and sometimes you create your own opportunities. So keep that in mind. It's very in line with what Mr. Hilton was saying. So thank you again, Mr. Hilton, for disabusing us of that notion.
So in other words, what I'm understanding is basically just to apply to companies, applies to jobs that you see available. And then if you receive a job, for example, you're able to go in, learn something new, and as you just gave the example, develop a compounded job description, right?
Yeah, once you're in, first you need to get in, so you need to prepare yourself as a package. You need to have your resume, your experiences, demonstrate that you are able to add value to any area in an organization, that you're trainable. Then you apply, then you get in, and once you're there, you make a contribution and you make a change. But think more of going into the company rather than where does X can I tick the box? Because once you're in, then the opportunities are there. Some of them you don't even know there exist.
Okay, all right, thank you.
I would like to add something as well. It's a matter of how you market yourself. As I said, the labor market is moving away from just now recognizing just the technical skills, but it's the transferable skills that employers are also looking at, you know. So you have the communication skills, organization skills, management, teamwork skills, and all these skills that you would have learned while you are studying. And a graduate from the humanities should be able to write excellently, using a certain language, using a certain tone, you know, and how to market yourself. I know, because persons from humanities are usually good in that area. So, you know, you're able to use certain language, certain tone, and etc. So it's a matter of how you put out yourself out there to get that job. And at the Ministry of Labor, we have what is known as our LMIS website, and that's www.lmis.gov.jm. On this website, you can register as a job seeker and search for jobs. And employers as well can register and search for candidates. And through the ministry as well, we do help persons through a department known as the Electronic Labor Exchange. Persons are able to learn how to construct a resume, how to conduct yourself during an interview. So if you register on the LMIS, you will be able to get that opportunity to learn how to prepare yourself, and you will be able to do mock interviews through our job fairs, etc.
Thank you for that, Mr. Palmer. Oh, okay. That I swear, Chelsea sound like me a while ago. Me say wait there, walk on. Brittany, I know you wanted to say something, so you can go ahead.
Oh yes, I was just jumping on Mr. Hylton's wagon to say LinkedIn. People, you need a LinkedIn account. If you don't have a LinkedIn account or even a professional Instagram account, please to get on that train right now. Why I say that is because just as Mr. Hylton is saying, you have to let people know that you are there, you are available, you can do X, Y, and Z, and everything right now is online. Right? You can find jobs through LinkedIn. You can find the people that will get you the job through LinkedIn, and you can market yourself so people know that via LinkedIn, I am willing to work, I can do this, and I'm available, and they can contact you directly. So please just add in, make use of your social media platforms. Facebook, you may think it's dead. I know it's not a hot topic amongst the millennials and the Gen Z, but it is a very useful tool for certain businesses. A lot of businesses still use Facebook, just to advertise and to put out job offers as well. So please explore these platforms and position yourself online. If you even have to do a flyer, I saw someone saying that they do voiceover and content creation and whatever. Invest in a flyer, put some money on that flyer and share it on Instagram, right? So people know, sponsor it so people know that you are there. I can do this, you can do that, and you're available for work.
Let me just endorse what Britney said as well, and it reminded me of something. The employer is gonna go and Google you. Let him find you, let her find you. Because he's thinking, if you are from this generation and you don't have a LinkedIn page, you don't have an Instagram account, then what's that telling me about the energy that you're gonna bring to my organization? So go and learn, see what the people say to themselves, because it shows. The other thing is that you talk about, I heard Brittany say, well, Facebook kind of dead. Maybe that's where your employer is, because your employer is an older person, or, and so you have to find them where they are. They're still reading the newspaper, right? So you have to look in the newspaper. I mean, you may think, I don't look in it, but that's where they're advertising. So you need to look there. Maybe they're on Facebook. So you have to think, how do I get into the employer's world and think like them? Where are they looking? And put yourself there, because they have what you want, which is a job.
Thank you for that, Mr. Hylton. Now, before I ask the last question for today's session, I just want to share something with Chelsea and everybody else that is here. When Brittany said that when she was on campus, she used to host events and stuff like that. And I think I can speak to this a little more because that resonates with me. I got an opportunity when I was in high school to host something for Flow. And after that event, I started just hosting. I don't even know what happened. I just started hosting events, people. And then people started to pay me to host events. Someone said, and then this could have did go on. Like, me not leave university yet or nothing, but it is a skill, people. So if you can do your voice over, if you can talk, you look good on camera, you can talk and do advertisement or something and go on TV, do it. The opportunities literally are there. And people, Instagram, LinkedIn, all of them something here what
I'm a
everybody
LinkedIn
talk
advocate,
about.
guys. I am a LinkedIn advocate. Last year, I did some development sessions for people to fix up them LinkedIn because guess what? As Mr. Hilton said, as Brittany said, that is your digital resume. When you Google your name, most likely the first result that will come up is your LinkedIn profile. LinkedIn has so many resources, articles, groups, focus groups. They have tests and skill tests for you to market yourself better, as Mr. Hilton would have said to us previously. Guys, please utilize LinkedIn. As I said, use Facebook. Ashiba has to ask the last question because I might go on for the rest of the day.
Yeah, man. And just to let you guys know too, my friend Shadea is here actually on the Zoom. Guys, I know 1 degree I give away. Faculty of Humanities and Education not taking up 1 degree, 1 piece of paper and say you alone are gonna get this. So see how best you can help each other. When you see the opportunities, send them to each other. If you see something come up and you know that your friend or this person would be interested in it and it can help them, send it to them.
Yes.
And also I hear everybody talking about LinkedIn and resume or whatever. We have the placement and career services here at UA.
So true.
Hello.
Hello.
All right, so ensure that you get in touch with somebody there. You have Miss Francis who you can talk to there to see how you can, because look here, I got an opportunity the other day and how them get my resume, placement and career services. All right, so use up what you have here at the university. So for all the panelists that are here, my last question for you is advice, of course. So I'm gonna start with you, Brittany. What advice you have to everybody here? Look here, somebody almost draped me in the chat said there are postgraduate students here too, my bad. So what advice you have for the students here, you know, that humanities and education, that's what we're doing. What we need to do for reach what we want to reach, any kind of advice. The floor is yours, Brittany. Go ahead.
All right, thank you. Well, for me, it's really to just go in with an open mind, make the most of your university experience first and foremost, because as I said, don't just be a student of the books. Don't just think it's all about academics, because the thing that the employer is going to look at is not what class of degree you got, but what else in addition to the degree do you have to offer to the establishment. So learn a little more, engage in leadership, teamwork activities, make yourself more marketable and more valuable to the company and even to yourself, because you never know, you may become an entrepreneur one day. And just the accolades and things that you've learned have helped to make you a better person in whatever field. So going with an open mind, that's the next bit of advice I have, because the degree is, yes, it's the key to get through the door of opportunities. But when you get into the workspace, it's going to be a whole different ball game, because now you'll have to put the theory into action and it will become a lot more practical and a lot more real for you. So you'll realize that, okay, I've learned the theory, but then when you're playing it out in the real work environment, it's a lot different. They won't teach you that in school. That is all about experience and on the spot learning. So open mind, guys, and make the most of university experience. It's not too late. You may be in final year, final semester. It's not too late, guys. You can join a club, you can participate, find a way to, host even one event. If you, host a little one event, coordinate a Zoom session, build those LinkedIn profiles and get those resumes out. I heard there are postgraduate persons here as well. Postgrad people, I mean, you have an advantage. You've gone a little higher and went to do your master's. I decided not to do a master's right away because I didn't see where it was necessary for me in that moment. I felt like I wanted to get some experience within the undergrad space first, having my undergrad learning, and then the master's that I get will complement the undergrad degree that I have. I don't want to just do a master's for doing its sake, right? So my end game is PR and communications. I know that's where I see myself in the future. So when I get enough experience here as an undergraduate, then I will go to book. So don't feel pressured. I'd say don't feel pressured to do your master's because your friends believe that, okay, it's the next step right away. I would encourage anyone, take some time to build yourself first and then you take the next step. But if by all means you want to jump right into it, go ahead. So yeah, that's me.
Thank you for that, Brittany. Mr. Palmer, you can go ahead with your closing statements and then we'll jump over to Mr. Hilton.
Okay. All right. In closing, I would say I would implore students to keep abreast of what is happening in the labor market. The labor market is not static, it's very dynamic. You know, it's influenced by a number of factors, you know, external factors such as technology, such as climate change, population, structure, etc., just to name a few. So, you know, you always have to keep abreast of what is happening in the labor market. So this platform here this afternoon, I must commend the Career and Placement Services for this platform today. That gets students, you know, more informed about what is happening in the labor market, what is expected of them in the world of work. I myself never had that opportunity during my time. You know, I just basically just went through, you know, and go along, and you know, God was good enough to help me to chart myself and find myself within a career that I actually enjoy. Also, students, remember that, you know, the faculty prepares you for the world of work. Your career and the faculty that you are in is what employers are looking for. You know, the ability to think and be creative and act creatively, organization skills, your writing skills, report writing, and all those skills are very important within the labor market today, as well as foreign language and so forth, and objectivity, you know, teamwork, and so forth and so forth. These are skills that employers are looking for within the labor market today. Also, bear in mind that learning never stops. You know, you're never too old to learn. And as Miss Clarke said, you know, she has gotten involved in a whole host of things. So, you know, you can always spread yourself and get yourself involved in a lot of different things because it looks good on your resume, you know, and it makes you a more rounded individual. And last but not least, you know, feel encouraged, you know, that the labor market is trending, is trending in a particular way where skill sets and technical skills are not just here now, but they are transferable skills that employers are looking for within the labor market. So, you know, I just want to implore persons to ensure that the courses that you are studying, ensure that you find the right match and utilize your free electives well. Don't just do a free elective because you have a friend doing a free elective, but you say, you know, you must want to do that, you know, forget a, you know, like an easy grade or so. Try to align those electives along with what is it that you have in mind that you want to do for your career. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Palmer. And Mr. Hilton, go ahead, the floor is yours.
Right, thank you. That's a great question, and I guess there's just so much one could say. I think I'll try to just keep it practical because of where the target audience is now in their lives and now at the point of actually thinking about how do I get into the working world, how do I get a job? So you have to get through that door. As would have been said by a number of the speakers, you know what, figure out what the employer is looking for, widen your scope. Don't limit yourself either to what you think are the options that, you know, fit directly within you, what you think at this point is your passion. You may know is your passion. You want to get a good job. So as much options and opportunities as you have, the better it is. For almost any one of those jobs, there are some core things that the employer is looking for. It's good to know you're smart enough to learn. So make sure you pass, right? If you even get a better grade, the best grade that you can get, don't be ashamed. So this may sound like a controversial. Don't be ashamed to do some subject that you're going to pass and get a good grade. If you can get a good degree, do it. I didn't do German because I was planning to go to teach German. I did German and linguistics because people got A's in them. So there it is. I've said it out loud because I want to help people. There were some people who didn't want to pick that because they said, well, what are they doing with that? What you're going to do with it, you're going to get a job, and the job will have nothing to do with German or linguistics, but the A will get to the job. So yeah, so we're in this little secret space here and we're sharing these things. Don't be ashamed to, you may think you're an introvert. I'm not into those things. I don't really like that. as Shaine just said, you're preparing a resume to show the employer. So volunteer and go on that committee, volunteer and go on that thing. You have an opportunity now, you'll get in. If you put up your hand now and say, I want to be a part of such and such a hall thing and the student government, nobody else wants it, you'll get in and you'll be able to put on your resume, oh, I was treasurer or I organized such and such an event on such and such a day. Build a little story from now. I'm not there to know how well you did at it. So we're talking some real serious things now. Let's keep it secret amongst us here. But guess what? Along the way, you actually will learn, because when you go to organize that little event, you actually going to realize that things don't work easy. So you actually will learn. But even if you're doing it because you say, I know the story I want to present to the employer, and then you say, well, when have you ever been in a situation where you had you met such a challenge? Well, go out there and do it and build build that story. Be deliberate and plan. Plan. It's really trying to say who fails to plan, plans to fail. Plan where you're gonna send it. Take up, read the Sunday paper every day where all the jobs are posted. Those are where the old people who have the jobs to give you are. So don't afraid to go there. Of course, utilize the more modern, the social platforms that are available. Don't listen to people who tell you, no, again, this is just my experience. I get some people that give me a one-page resume, and I say, why a one-page resume? Or they told me to keep it short because employers don't like long resume. For me, nonsense. And I know you will have, a lot of you are told that because they tell us that people tell them that, even that you itself, nonsense. I'm not unable to read a 4-page resume. Communicate your strengths on your resume. Don't be ashamed of it. This is not the time to be shy. Believe me, if all of you are just saying the same thing, I have this degree, then how do I know which one is better than which one? Again, may sound not something you've heard before. If you were head boy in high school, tell me, if you got 10 all the way back to CXC, whatever are the good, strong points you have in your story, the other applicant may not have it. So put yours down, don't be ashamed. There may be some stuff you don't want to lie, don't lie. Because if your integrity falls into question, you're gone. You know, we get another job. So don't lie. But you don't have to put that somebody did this once. I used to work one time when I started out, I used to dig ditches. But I'm not putting that on my resume if I'm applying for a particular kind of job. So you don't have to put everything. I've had people put in their application that, you know, I'm not ashamed that we did that as a part of a journey, but don't put in my head the scene of you there cleaning that toilet. And I'm serious, I got that. And I'm just saying, I'm trying to be practical with you. No, it's not that we're ashamed of it or we're ashamed that you did it. Don't put it on your resume if you don't want that in my head. There are lots of other things you did on the path that show your variety and so on, and we're happy to see all of those. Apply to everywhere, apply early, apply widely, and reapply. Build your resume from now. Go out, get your experiences, the subjects, study hard, get a good degree, and because your first task is to get that job.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hilton. Mr. Hilton talking now. Everybody talks. Everybody talks.
Surprising.
The whole thing with the resume, Mr. Hilton. Them tell me to. Them said don't make it past the one page because nobody's gonna read it. That's what they tell us.
Yeah.
No, how do I know you were on the netball team and you organized that party and you were on the thing if you don't tell me?
They say when you get to the interview stage, that's when them ask and you tell them.
Yeah.
No, the resume is the first impression on paper.
That's very interesting.
It looks like I need to add 3 more pages.
But this is really good. Thank you guys so much. So before I hand over to Gio to do the vote of thanks, I'm going to ask Brithney, Shaine, and Mr. Hilton if you're able to give us your socials or how we can get to your email and so on. You can do so in the chat so that everybody can have that information, because I know there are students here who would love to maybe talk more and get to know and understand a little bit more about what we spoke about here today. So you can do that in the chat.
And we definitely want to connect with you guys.
So you can go ahead with the vote of thanks to you.
Okay, so on behalf of the students of the Faculty of Humanity and Education, one of the biggest faculties at UE Mona, we want to say thank you to our panelists and the organizers, because without the organizers, we would not have this enriching and fulfilling session. This amazing session about marketing ourselves and being students of life, not just on a book, as Brithney said, and being adaptable and being able to research the working world and the labor market, and that the labor market is not static, as Shaine had told us. So for to Ms. Tanya Francis, Dr. Nicole Plummer, everybody at Placement and Career Services, Dr. Anne-Marie Williams, thank you for giving us this amazing opportunity. Mr. Tashana Briscoe, who unfortunately had to leave us, for giving us clarity on the behavior of employees in the working world and what it is to be a brilliant employee and what it is that is needed for you to transition into the working world, as well as Britney, and showing us that us younger people were able to navigate the working world and do well, do amazingly, just as she is doing currently at Nationwide. Mr. Shaine Palmer, for giving us the insights and the encouragements that we need from an analytical standpoint. Very appreciative of that, Mr. Palmer. You don't even understand. And to you, Uncle Lance Hilton, because right now you have uncle status, for being real and giving a high impact energy, as well as showing us the worth of our degree and our faculty. This has been the value of a humanities and education graduate, right, guys? It's been amazing. Thank you to you, our students, our audience, our listeners, for taking the time out and just vibing with all of us, our panelists, my co-host Aishiba Cornwall. Yeah, just thank you to everybody.
All right, thank you, everybody. My name is Aishiba Cornwall once again, and it was a pleasure being your host this evening, this afternoon. If you'd like to connect with me, I'm also going to drop my Instagram here. You can connect with me right there. Dr. Plummer, if you're still here, handing back over to you. This was an amazing session, and I just want to big up everybody that played a part in making it come to reality, don't it?
Yeah.
Dr. Plummer, are you here?
And let me say, just on my behalf, and I'm sure all the panelists, thank you for inviting us, and congrats, you did a great job hosting. It's great to see your energy and how you organize and manage and keep everybody involved. Really was a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hilton.
Yes, I second that.
Let me just add my quota of appreciation to Gio and Aishiba. Excellent job. And thanks again to the panelists. I know that whenever we call on you, you never say no. So just saying thanks again and all the very best. And Dr. Plummer will be in more partnerships as the year progresses and into next academic year.
Indeed, Dr. Williams and panelists, thank you so much. I learned a thing or two. I mean, frankly, my CVs have always been long, so I never shortchange anything. Even as an undergraduate student, I knew the value of putting everything down on the paper, but that's my training in history still. All right, so thank you very much, Mr. Palmer, Ms. Clarke, and Mr. Hilton. I really appreciated this session. Thank you. And Aishiba and Gio, I think you just, you brought to light your Gen Z energy. So yes, and for everyone, those of you who are able to make it audience, I'm looking forward to seeing where you go next and where you take this advice, because your panelists gave you very good guidance. So I'm looking forward to see where you will take that. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Plummer. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.